Remember those carefree days of childhood where the magic still existed? When you didn't feel guilty about eating mountains of cereal with, we'll just say, questionable nutrition? Well, now you can have your cereal and you can eat it too. Because Magic Spoon has re-engineered that same great taste with grown-up ingredients for an absolutely game-changing Cereal 2.0. I adore cereal. I treasure cereal. It's one of my favorite things to eat, but I just can't justify eating mounds of sugar in every bowl. I don't need to worry about that with Magic Spoon, because it's high protein, low carb, and 0 grams of sugar in each serving. I know, it's hard to believe, but it also comes in 6 delicious flavors: frosted, fruity, cocoa, cinnamon, blueberry, and peanut butter. Plus, they've got limited edition flavors released throughout the year, like gingerbread or peaches and cream. So taste that magic of childhood all over again and get yourself some Magic Spoon cereal. Plus, take $5 off your order at checkout. All you got to do is insert the promo code Kingdom Team. That's right, Kingdom Team at checkout will get you $5 off your next order at magicspoon.com. That's magicspoon.com. Promo code Kingdom Team. Disney News Talk Live is on. Hello, friends. Wait for the Kingdom Report back with you once again. It is time to cover some Disney Parks news from coast to coast, Disneyland to Walt Disney World. So much to talk about, as always. So many different news stories in which to dive into, and certainly we'll be doing that. Don't you worry. We've got a lot of things to talk about today. Everything from all of the nighttime spectaculars coming back to Disneyland with official dates, finally. Right? We finally know when those official nighttime spectaculars are coming back. And then on top of it, we also know when a certain electrical parade will be debuting. Of course, Fantasmic along with it, and World of Color making a comeback as well. Can't wait for it. In addition to that, we're going to be discussing how Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser over at Walt Disney World is faring now that the media has had a chance to take a look at it. Now that the media has had an opportunity to see it for themselves, we are going to share with you a review that I think is quite objective and comes from somebody who's not necessarily a Disney fan, somebody that got to experience it over the course of the 2 nights, and I don't really even think is much of a Star Wars fan either. So I think this type of review that we're going to be sharing with you, I don't think it's going to hurt anybody's feelings, but I certainly think that it's going to be very fair and open-minded. So we're going to be sharing that with you here in a bit. Also, Ken Potrock, the president of Disneyland, he recently did an interview with the Orange County Register and shared a whole lot of things that we are absolutely going to dissect and talk about. Lots of discussion points when it comes to what he has said and the things that he has shared, everything from the future of Disneyland to sort of the, I guess, pandemic reopening to now and what has happened and how they've changed the business, to trams returning, to Toontown going under the knife. All kinds of things are going to be discussed in that interview that we will definitely raise up here for you to take a listen to and understand. Also, a park of have and have-nots, how Disney World's prices are rising as attendance soars. That is also a big subject of conversation here today. Can't wait to discuss that with you as well. And if you are checking in with us for the first time in a while, please let us know where you are listening from. If you're part of the live broadcast, just realize that Disney News Talk Live is all about your opinion, your Disney Parks experiences. So this show really is geared and driven by you. All right, so you share your thoughts, we put your comments on screen, we talk to you, we bring your opinions out so that the topics of conversation are really all about what you think and how you perceive your own Disney park experience. That is what this show is all about. So please, if you're part of the live broadcast, contribute. That is what this is all about. Whether you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, we want to thank you for being a part of the show. And just to get things started today, I wanted to ask everybody, if you could change one thing about Disney parks right now, what do you think that would be? Right? There's a lot going on in Disney theme parks. There are a lot of things to consider with a question like this. Certainly a lot of various items about a Disney park that could be altered, could be changed. Would it be prices? Would it be hotel stays? Would it be eliminating a hotel, adding restaurants, removing a particular ride or land? Anything, everything, it's wide open. I want to hear from you. Please let us know in the comment section. And even if you're watching after the fact and you aren't with us live, hey, drop it in the comments, because we always are looking for your perspective, regardless of whether or not it's live. We are always listening and can't wait to hear your response. So if you could change one thing about Disney parks right now, what would that be? Let us know in the comments. In addition to that, I also want to share with everybody an opportunity for you to win yourself your very own Kingdom Report mug. We like to reward you for watching this show. We like to reward you for being a part of the Kingdom team in general, and therefore all you got to do is wait for this live video to post. As soon as the live video is over, you can leave a comment underneath this video on our YouTube channel at the Kingdom Report on YouTube, and all you got to do is leave the phrase that pays. The phrase that pays this week: Disneyland Forever. Disneyland Forever is the phrase that pays. Leave that in our comment section underneath this video on our YouTube channel. Doesn't work on Facebook Live. You got to put it on our YouTube channel right underneath this video. As soon as the live video posts, put that in there, Disneyland Forever. That's the phrase that pays. You will be entered to win yourself your very own Kingdom Report mug, and we will select at random, reach out to you if you are the winner. You do have between now, which is February the 26th live, and Monday morning, the 28th at 8 a.m. Pacific time. All right, so Disneyland Forever in the comment section to win your very own Kingdom Report mug. Good luck to everybody out there. And no doubt these Kingdom Report mugs, hot commodities. Everybody loves them. Everybody wants them. Yep, everybody wants themselves a little bit of the Kingdom Report mug goodness. So Disneyland Forever is the phrase that pays this week. And I'm not alone. No. In fact, I have a certain somebody here with me this week to talk all things Disney parks, all things Disney magic. His name is Gared Hassel. His life's mission is to bring you some Disney parks content from time to time and report on Walt Disney World. Gared Hassel, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? You set the bar very high for me, so I hope I can match that. But hey, everyone, hope you're having a fantastic Saturday out there. It sure is a magical one whenever we talk about anything Disney related. I always get happy when we do these little shows here. So hope you guys are having a great time. I'm ready to, I guess get on with the show, so to speak.
Oh, let's get on with the show then.
Yeah.
Checking in with our live chat right now, Lori Jean says, hoping Earl of Sandwich will come back someday, as Downtown Disney no doubt goes under the knife right now. The deconstruction, if you will, of and more demolition going on right now in the AMC complex, the whole west end of Downtown Disney out at Disneyland. Yes, Earl of Sandwich is a victim of this demolition, so
yes.
We hope so too. Who doesn't love a good Earl of Sandwich, Gared?
Oh, I love it. I personally, I love the Italian, and then I get some additional Italian dressing, and I dip it in there just to have that little zing in there. But Lori, if you want Earl of Sandwich, all you got to do is, hop on a flight over to, Orlando, go to Disney Springs, and you can enjoy it there as well. But like many out there, my first experience with Earl of Sandwich was Downtown Disney, and it was the perfect little stop. You hop off the monorail, go get that hop back on, boom, you're back in the magic real fast.
Just like that.
Just
Yeah,
like that.
I'm a fan of the Montague. That is my
Ooh.
preferred Earl of Sandwich. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's right. And Tinker Shell says, hi, Wade. Well, hey, Tinker. Great to have you with us.
No, hello, Gary. That's okay. I'll just...
Yeah, it was just me.
That's okay. That's all right.
Yeah, well, she said it while I was the one talking, and you hadn't arrived yet, it looks like, so, in her defense. Kimothy says, good afternoon, gentlemen, and I will say, good afternoon, Kimothy. Good afternoon.
Hi, Mom.
Great to have
Hi,
you
Mom.
with us.
How are you?
That's,
Hope you're doing good.
Oh, yeah, you do have the same last name, don't you?
Yeah, if you didn't know, that's my mom, everyone. So, hi, Mom. Love you.
How supportive.
Yeah. I
Look at that.
She's been my biggest cheerleader throughout my life. So thank you, Mom, and I'll try
Aw.
and make you proud today.
You can't mess up now.
Oh goodness.
Oh, goodness. Jen Me says, hi, Wade, just flew back into Orlando yesterday from L.A. Well, Jen Me, I hope you enjoyed yourself a little bit of time at Disneyland. That's for sure. I'd love to hear from you there. It looks like Tinker Shell is checking in from Santa Cruz. That's awesome. Cesar says, hey, DNTL. Caesar from Houston, Texas. Well, hey, Caesar. Thank you so much.
What's up, man? What's up?
How's it going?
Yeah.
I also see Mr. Steve Watkins saying, good afternoon from North Atlanta. Well, top of the afternoon to you, Steve. Yes.
Yeah, get us some
how
Chick-fil-A,
regal.
because that's where Chick-fil-A is from, Atlanta.
That's right.
That and Coca-Cola.
I was going to say, next thing out of my mouth was, and Coke. That's right. You got to love your Coca-Cola. Let's see. Tisha and Megan say, no reservations or hopper deadline is one of the things that looks like they would decide to change about the Disney parks. Very interesting. Yeah, eliminating reservations and, that hopper timeline. What is it? It's 2 o'clock Disney World, 1 o'clock Disneyland side. So, yeah, I know. It kind of gets in the way. It's a hassle, especially when you want a free flow from one place to another.
Oh, the good old days where, you'd enter Disneyland at like 8, 9 a.m. After you've done 2 or 3 rides. You then book it over to California Adventure, hop on soar, and then just go back and forth. It was organized chaos, and I loved it because you're just 300 feet away from another experience.
It's nice to be able to roll on over to another place. That's right. And Jen Me says more vegan-esque, friendly, and healthy options across the parks. I I think that's a great idea, especially because obviously people go very gratuitous when they go on vacation. People go very high caloric indulgences when they're on vacation. But yes, there are plenty of folks that still want to remain sort of health-minded, health-conscious when they go about their food explorations. And while Disney, I think, has tried to infuse a little bit more of that in recent years, it really is few and far between. So that's a great suggestion there.
Yeah, I do not go to the smokehouse over in the American Pavilion. That is definitely not vegan friendly over there.
Big meat,
but and healthy, not so much, but it sure is delicious.
It is keto friendly though.
Oh yeah,
what is that? Yeah, very keto-esque. Tigger says, I would eliminate park reservations. So frustrating trying to get my friends on the same days if we want to head down in a week or two. Yeah, I totally agree. That's something that rears its ugly head quite a bit, especially when you might have a different type of ticket or pass, and they have a day ticket. Maybe they can get in. You have a pass, and you can't get in. I mean, it really does throw a wrench in things. Yeah,
no, I've had days where it's like, hey, we're going to Epcot today, and it's, well, I can get into Magic Kingdom, I can get into Animal Kingdom, but I cannot get into Epcot. Sorry, guys. And it is frustrating, especially organizing plans.
It's the worst. Lori Jean, hey Gared, see?
What's up, girl? How you doing?
Yep. And oh, look, Tinker too. See? All right, there we go. Now you don't have to feel so bad. Not so bad at all. Very nice.
My day is better now.
Edward says Thunder Mountain Barbecue is missed by everyone. I would love to see a really great barbecue place be resurrected somewhere at the Disneyland Resort. I think that would be a great idea. So, yeah, without it, I think River Belle Terrace is trying to fit the bill at the moment, but it's not the same.
I know you don't have the pardoned turkeys that the president pardons every year chilling there. The happiest turkeys in the world.
People walk right by them.
I know.
Nobody even realizes that they were there. They were fantastic. I used to stop and take pictures with them all the time. I'd be like, "Do you know who these are? These are the luckiest turkeys in the world." Oh.
They were like, "What's so lucky about turkey?" It's just like, never mind.
Yeah,
it takes too long to explain.
All right, very good. Our friend Alex checks in saying hello. Well, hey Alex, great to have you with us. And there's so much to get to today. A lot of things to talk about. I know that as I mentioned here at the top, we are definitely going to chat about more specifically how the Disneyland Resort president Ken Potrock, he shared a lot of things in a recent interview that we're going to dissect, and that's a very important interview to get to, so we will be sharing that with everybody here in a bit. Also, the soaring costs of a Walt Disney World vacation versus the attendance, and how attendance is also soaring right alongside it. Should they charge more because attendance is going through the roof? So we'll discuss that too. But first and foremost, Gared, you tell me when it comes to our talkback question of the moment. If you could change one thing about Disney parks right now, what do you think you would change?
That's man. We could talk about the entire show for that length. But I think it would just be, bringing back more meet and greets, bring back the entertainment element. I miss, I'm happy that there are meet and greets now, but they're still socially distanced. I miss the ability to hug characters, especially coming from entertainment. I know what an impact that has. So I miss entertainment. Plus, you can't make Gaston anymore. So that's already just, you see him in a parade, but that's not enough. You got to fill his ego by meeting him face to face and having him yell at you. That's what makes the experience so much more enjoyable.
That's the only way. Yes. And I think for me, I would probably, if it's just one change, I would probably bring back Magic Happens Parade, just because it didn't get, at Disneyland, of course, it just didn't get more than 2.5 weeks to perform before the pandemic shut everything down, and it hasn't returned. So I think that would be my one change is, let's implement a day parade. Certainly, one of the things that I've been noticing is that, Disneyland at least has continued with its cavalcades. I know Magic Kingdom has done much the same, even though they're bringing, the fantasy parade back. So at any rate, I think it's wonderful to have the sporadic mini cavalcades as well as a scheduled day parade, and we threw that up as a poll here this week, asking everybody that happens to be a part of the channel, what do you think? Are you more interested in just having the routine, sporadic cavalcades throughout the day? I guess that's not routine then. So sporadic and surprise cavalcades, or are you more excited about the concept of having a scheduled day parade? And that poll is live and active right now, and we'll take a look at some of those results here at the end of the show. But head on over to our YouTube channel at the Kingdom Report and vote yourself. Gared, what do you partake in more? What do you prefer, the sporadic versus scheduled?
No, I want the scheduled, because the sporadic are short, and you don't get to fully grasp it all. I think it goes by too fast, versus you get Magic Happens or you get Festival of Fantasy. That thing goes on, and it's a full-on show with the transitions. Like, I don't want just one little parade float. I want an entire lineup, and I want to see all the different characters and everything. Don't get me wrong, cavalcades are fun, but a full parade just is so much more satisfying.
I do love how sort of magical it feels, because you never know when one of those things is coming around the corner, and it does make places like Magic Kingdom feel that much more magical. So I like having those once in a blue moon parades just pop up on me. And granted, you're right, they are lesser versions of a traditional parade, but it's something that I didn't expect to like when they started happening, and I was like, oh, these are great, because I just turn a corner and boom, here comes another one. So at any rate, I think that they definitely have their merit. But everybody go vote in our poll here on the Kingdom Report YouTube channel. Do you prefer the more sporadic surprise cavalcades, the mini parades, or would you much rather enjoy yourself a traditional full-length mega parade? Let us know over on our poll at the Kingdom Report YouTube channel. Well, Gared, speaking of parades, the Main Street Electrical Parade is coming back. We also have Fantasmic on the way to Disneyland. We also have a very wonderful World of Color and Disneyland Forever fireworks, all coming to the Disneyland Resort here very soon. We've got the dates as well as some of the big changes that have happened recently. And why don't we stop talking and just get right into that story? The following comes to us from Yahoo News. They write, the Main Street Electrical Parade returns to Disneyland on April 22nd with a grand new finale, just in time to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the theme park's beloved nighttime procession of character floats made of thousands of sparkling lights that move to a cheerful tune. Disneyland Forever Fireworks Spectacular and at California Adventure, the World of Color Water Show, also come back on April 22nd. Fantasmic Laser Show over Disneyland's Rivers of America, featuring Mickey Mouse and many other classic Disney characters, is scheduled to return May 28th, marking its 30th anniversary. The relaunch of these events marks the return of nighttime favorites that have been absent since the two Anaheim theme parks closed in March 2020 due to the pandemic. The theme parks reopened 412 days later on April 30th, 2021. Disney recently announced the much-awaited return of the Mickey and Friends parking lot trams that transports guests to and from the theme parks. The trams began running again this past week for the first time since the theme parks reopened last year. Disney also dropped indoor mask mandates for guests who are vaccinated, except on Disney shuttles after the state lifted its mandate. A guest favorite since June 17, 1972, the debut of the Main Street Electrical Parade features such floats as the classic train and drum unit and Elliot the Dragon from Pete's Dragon, with an electronic musical score based on Baroque Hoedown by Jean-Jacques Perry and Gershon Kingsley. This parade was the first to play unique musical arrangements synchronized to each float unit. The parade left Disneyland on November 25th, 1996. Much to the disappointment of park guests, it later, of course, appeared at other Disney parks around the world and at California Adventure, returning to Disneyland for limited runs. The lineup of floats has changed over the years, and Disney parks around the world have presented evolving versions of the iconic parade. To honor the milestone 50th anniversary of Main Street Electrical Parade, Disney Live Entertainment will introduce a grand finale that celebrates the theme of togetherness in an all-new float. The 7-segment float stretches 118 feet in length and brings to life more than a dozen Walt Disney Animation Studios and Pixar Animation Studios films, making it one of the longest and grandest sequences in the parade's history, Disney officials said. Advance tickets and reservations are required for admission to Disneyland and California Adventure. Tickets must be purchased online, and reservations can be made at the Disneyland.com website or through the phone app. Once again, our many thanks to Yahoo News for that great story. So many spectaculars, so many awesome things coming back. Gared, what are you looking forward to the most?
Main Street Electrical Parade, I've got a soft spot. I got to perform in that. Granted, I held a pole while people dance underneath my canopy, but I love that parade. I think back to when I was a kid watching that. You see all the twinkling lights, and you are just transported to a different world entirely. And I'm pumped, especially that finale. I've seen the original version where it honors America, but getting some Mary Blair in there and showing all these Disney characters, I'm so excited for. Main Street Electrical, it's got a soft spot in my heart, and it's where it belongs, which is Disneyland. Nothing against Walt Disney World, but it belongs at Disneyland. It has a nostalgia with it.
Yep, it all started there, and therefore it does have a very special place, that's for sure. Hey, if you are enjoying Disney News Talk Live, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, no matter where you happen to be listening or watching, whether it's Facebook Live or over on our YouTube channel. A thumbs up always helps the video, and we appreciate it too. But it is our big time to talk back, and we want to hear from all of you. Do the return dates for Disneyland Spectaculars make you more inclined to book a trip? And if not, what are you waiting to see return first? We know that there are a lot of people that have been waiting on certain things to change or return or get a little different before they plunk all their money down and go on a Disneyland Resort vacation. This is strictly for Disneyland right here. So if it doesn't apply to you, that's okay. But when it comes down to it, are these Disneyland Spectaculars coming back motivating you to go ahead and book a trip? And have you been waiting? What's your situation been? And of course, if not, what are you waiting to see return first? We'd love to hear from you when it comes to all of these things changing. In addition to that, by the way, face masks, Gared, have been dropped from coast to coast for those people who are vaccinated. And certainly Disney has said if you're unvaccinated, you still need to wear masks when you're indoors. However, they don't check vaccination status. They play this on the honor system, basically. So, your guess is as good as anybody else. Yeah. But they dropped the face mask from coast to coast again. They did this once early on, and then it came back. Sadly, I don't think anybody wants to wear a face covering for life. But it's one of those things that now they've dropped it again. I wonder if this is pushing more people to want to go, into the parks after, sort of a long period of having to wear them indoors.
Yeah, I think it could be that. I saw it when Disney World said you got to wear masks indoors and outdoors. Okay, just indoors. All right, you're free to go. And then they started reversing that. So it's a very, roller coaster ride for this. But if guests were the type that didn't want to go for, if there were masks required, then hey, now's your time to shine. It's not like Disney's attendance is really hurting, because at Disney World it seems like it's packed more than ever before. But it's nice to see that as it's getting warmer, especially in those outdoor queues that are still part of that inside. Meaning you have to wear it. So it's nice to, be able to breathe while you're outside, and it is the honor system. So if you guys please honor it out there, that's all we ask, follow the rules and all that good stuff.
Yep, whether you are, I believe it's unvaccinated, vaccinated, it doesn't seem to matter. Regardless of vaccination status, you are still required on Disney property to wear a face covering when you go into places like First Aid, the Baby Care Center, and if you're on enclosed transportation, like say, monorails, buses, stuff like that. So it's still required there. However, indoor, outdoor, otherwise, if you're vaccinated, they say, go ahead, take them off. It is a wonderful, freeing feeling when you don't have to wear wear them anymore. And I know State of California announced here about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, that we are now officially in an endemic phase, which is just a wonderful thing to hear in general.
Yeah.
That, we're no longer in pandemic form, we're in endemic form. Boy, I can't believe it's been 2.5 years, but it has been 2.5 years.
Oh yeah. No, I remember when we were, doing the show just from our house, all of us, and we were talking about the what ifs of what's going to happen, and each month would go by and be like, is it opening now? Is it opening now? And it just kept further and further and further, but it is, it's a relief to see things going back to normal, and hopefully once this happens, we'll get, more of the other normal things, such as being able to hug characters, as I said earlier, But yeah, good times are coming, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Good times are coming, absolutely. And once again, hey, do the return dates for the Disneyland Spectaculars make you more inclined to book a trip? And if not, what are you waiting to see return first? Sound off, whether it's via Facebook Live or YouTube, or if you're watching this after the fact, leave it in our comment section. We want to hear from you. Your comments are coming up next. Hey, after the break, we are going to also be discussing Disney's Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser and whether or not it is worth the price tag. The media has now previewed it, and again, as mentioned at the top of the program, we have found a review that seems very objective and not necessarily from somebody that's a Disney fan or even a Star Wars fan, so I think it'll be incredibly helpful to hear from them. Gared, are you, before we get a break, are you pumped for Galactic Starcruiser?
Yes and no. Yes and no. But I'll
hold it.
I'll hold that for after the break.
Yes and no. I can't wait to hear exactly what you have in your little head. So,
yes.
We're going to get to it right after the break.
You're lucky it didn't spot you. Take those turbo lifts and stay out of trouble.
Hey, you're not authorized. Wait, it goes in the freezer.
Cover is blown. Find an alternate route. Who picked these two droids anyway?
Fire! Take cover, troops! If anyone's packing a blaster, now's a good time. Ah! The escape pod's just below us! Wait, why are you going up? I said down! Up is bad! Up is real bad!
Disney News Talk Live. It's always great to have you with us. If you haven't done so already, make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, The Kingdom Report on YouTube. You've also hit that thumbs up button. It means an awful lot to us. This show is all about your opinions, your thoughts, your Disney parks perspective. And dear friends, we asked you just before the break when it comes to all the Disneyland Spectaculars returning with the Main Street Electrical Parade, Disneyland Forever Fireworks, World of Color, Fantasmic. Are you more motivated than ever to book a trip to Disneyland? Rita says, I was there when the Main Street, the Main Street Electrical Parade first closed at Disneyland. What an iconic thing to be a part of, Rita.
Yeah, that's
cool.
That's awesome. That really is cool. Like you saw history at Disney. That's amazing.
What a thing to be able to say you did, huh? I mean, you never know. Obviously, it's come back multiple times since, but it was the initial farewell.
yeah. It opened in 72, I think, and then it closed in like 77 or 82 or something like that.
Tisha and Megan say, we just left a week ago, but rushing back in June for Fantasmic if it's there. Well, it should be there, yes. I believe the end of May is when it's returning, so this is terrific. I know that Ken Potrock, the president of the Disneyland Resort, recently shared in the interview that we will be going over here in just a bit exactly why it's taking Fantasmic so long to come back. He basically said, I'll give you a bit of a preview, he just said, the reason why that's coming later than everything else, because everything else is coming in April, it's just because it's more intricate, there's a lot more to it, it's bigger, we have to install everything again, so it just takes longer, and that's the only reason why that is being pushed towards, I guess that's Memorial Day weekend, as a matter of fact, or just around there. So, yeah, they always try and have something big to kick off summer. And hey, there's nothing bigger than the original Fantasmic, baby.
The superior Fantasmic, if I might add.
Superior, indeed. Jeff says, I will be there for the very first time with an Adventures by Disney trip in June. Cannot wait.
That's awesome.
Jeff, let us know how that goes.
Yeah.
And let us know if you've ever taken an Adventures by Disney trip before. These obviously have gone by the wayside as the pandemic raged on, so I haven't even heard about Adventures by Disney recently, so this is great to know that they're starting things back up.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And to be able to, go to Disneyland as a part of Adventures by Disney, that's even cooler, because usually you just go to, I guess, other locations. But here he gets to, stay in LA area.
Right. He says, we start in Hollywood, go to Jim Henson Studios, then to Disney Studios and Disney Imaging, then both parks. That's really awesome. I know that they used to call it something. It's probably different now, but they used to call it the Hollywood Legacy Tour, if I recall correctly. Ooh. And this is something that a lot of people say is one of their best tours. So Jeff, you are in for a really terrific experience. And you know what? If you're doing that here in June, that's awesome. The Kingdom Report Studios are just around the corner from the Walt Disney Studios, as a matter of fact. So you might even drive by when we do our studio show, and you can scream at us. Certainly, we don't have the branding that the Disney Studios do, so it's hard to tell where we are. But we're right around the corner from them.
Mm-hmm. We are indeed.
Very good. And Tisha and Megan said, heard Fantasmic had COVID issues with sanitizing, messing with flame retardant, etc. Hadn't heard that. I just know that Ken Potrock had said the reason why Fantasmic's coming later is mainly, he said we literally just had to install, again, the lighting grids and structures, because those were taken down during the pandemic shutdown. And no doubt we've seen that during our recent visits to Disneyland and seeing how everything has been reinstalled recently. They're working on the island. They're working on the platforms out on the sidewalks around Rivers of America to bring everything back. It is a lot of work. That's a heck of a show. So there's a lot going into it that they had to deconstruct during the pandemic that they have to bring back now. So it'll be great to see that. Bring on the Fantasmic. Very good. Well, let's not waste any more time. Thank you all, by the way, for contributing and sharing your thoughts. I know that we are all looking forward to hearing exactly what the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser was like. Now that the media has had an opportunity to see it, the media has had an opportunity to dissect it and to give their thoughts. It is a very interesting review from CNBC. Can't wait to share it with you. We are going to do that now. Just be advised, it is long-winded. There's a lot of detail in this. So if you're not a Star Wars fan, please stick with us. There's plenty more. There's plenty more Disney-centric topics coming up. But I know how. I'm not really a huge Star Wars fan myself, so I can understand how your eyes might glaze over when it comes to the details. But if anything, think about this from the perspective of if this goes well, if Galactic Starcruiser goes well, we're very likely going to see other hotel properties amongst the Disney inventory, I guess, try and be more like it, I think. I think they're going to try and do this again with a different sort of intellectual property, and hopefully it's much more Disney-centric in the future. So we'll see.
Oh, absolutely! I would love an Indiana Jones one. I know that's a huge stretch, but I want to be chased by a boulder, and I want to, fight Nazis. That sounds like a good time.
Seems like the perfect infusion for a Disney park. Absolutely. And, put that in a hotel property. But yeah, let's not waste any more time. As I said, Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser at Walt Disney World. Full review from CNBC. Recently, CNBC hopped aboard the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser, and here is their honest review. They write, immersion takes on a new meaning aboard Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser, Disney's newest theme park attraction. From the moment passengers board the shuttles to the Chandrila Star Line's Starcruiser known as the Halcyon, the adventure begins, and it doesn't slow its pace until they disembark after their voyage 2 days later. On Monday, CNBC ventured aboard the Halcyon for a preview of Disney's new experience. Branded as an immersive adventure, the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser blends elements of the company's resorts, cruise lines, and theme parks into a 48-hour romp in space. First teased during Disney's D23 Expo in 2019, the Galactic Starcruiser, located near the company's Orlando, Florida-based Disney World Resort, has drawn curiosity and criticism from potential passengers. The experience comes with a steep price tag, around $1,200 per person per day, and has been cloaked in secrecy until now. So let's address the bantha in the room right away. Is Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser worth the price of admission? Yes, but with one condition. You have to be willing to play. Passengers get back what they put into their time aboard the Halcyon. If you suspend your disbelief, embrace the story, and participate without self-consciousness, this will be a trip you and your family will probably never forget. There is no denying that traveling aboard the Halcyon is pricey. For 2 adult guests, the trip will cost around $4,800, and for a group of 4, 3 adults, 1 child, the price tag is nearly $6,000. That can be a hard number to digest, especially considering a typical Disney vacation for a family of 4 can cost that much for a week-long trip, depending on hotel and restaurant choices. However, for fans looking for the ultimate Star Wars experience, a voyage aboard the Halcyon may be worth the price, even if it is for a shorter period of time. The 2-day experience includes a hotel room, all food and drink except alcoholic and specialty beverages, a day trip to the Hollywood Studios park, a magic band, and valet service at drop-off. The rooms are spacious and hold typical hotel amenities such as a television, in-cabin safe, hair dryer, and bath and shower products. Guests will find, however, that they will spend very little time in these rooms. The designers took inspiration from different aspects of the Star Wars universe. The bunk beds, for example, are reminiscent of shapes found on the Millennium Falcon. Doug Chiang, Vice President and Executive Creative Director at Disney subsidiary Lucasfilm, told CNBC that the team sought to keep the ship fresh and familiar, but to allow between 30 and 40% of the design to have a component of new. Guests will notice that cabin doors, which are unlocked by a magic band, open by sliding, not swinging on a hinge. It is a subtle change, but it adds to the overall immersion of the experience. Layered on top of all of that is the experience itself, which is something that has never been attempted before. Quote, "One of the things that is most interesting about it is that we talk a lot about what is it," said Ann Morrow Johnson, executive producer and executive creative director of Walt Disney Imagineering, saying, "It's not really a cruise, it's not really a theme park, it's not really a hotel, it's not really a 48-hour piece of immersive theater. It's not really a live-action game. It's sort of an intersection between all of those things," close quote. There are so many different storylines that unfold over the course of the 2 days that it is truly how you choose to spend your time and respond to the things that you've seen that dictates that you are called upon to do and how your story unfolds and ultimately resolves itself, she said. Disney has been working on the Galactic Starcruiser since 2016, developing it alongside the Galaxy's Edge theme park land in order to create one cohesive story. Guests spend the first evening at the Halcyon meeting new characters and deciding where their allegiances lie. Are they Resistance fighters, loyal to the First Order, or are they towing the line between good and evil as a scoundrel? The main gist of the overarching story goes as follows. You are a passenger on a Starcruiser for a 2-day voyage. During that trip, Lieutenant Harmon Croy, a First Order officer, boards the ship looking to root out Resistance spies. The captain, Riola Kivan, and the cruise director, Linka Mock, are not thrilled by his presence, but they ultimately acquiesce. Croy stirs up trouble, determining that Mock's droid, an Astromech SK-620, must be detained because it is harboring Resistance secrets. The course of events draws in a new mechanic named Sammy, who is reluctantly recruited into the ranks of the Resistance. Also on board the ship is a galactic superstar, Gaia, a Twi'lek her human manager, Wraith Cole, a Rhodian musician named Owani, and an aspiring musician and Gaia superfan named Sandro. Then there are the Saja and Jedi group that has found a safe haven on the Halcyon and uses the training pods to teach guests the art of using a lightsaber. And of course, some familiar faces also appear, including Chewbacca, Rey, and Kylo Ren. Over the course of 48 hours, guests make alliances, complete missions, and participate in nearly every aspect of the story that unfolds and comes to a head on the second night of the voyage. For the media voyage, guests were given a data pad, an iPhone with the Disney Play app already installed that allowed us to access our itinerary. It also allowed us to interact with wall terminals and have pre-programmed conversations with characters on the ship. In the future, Disney Imagineers hope to streamline the experience so that guests can use their own devices. Early in the voyage, I used my datapad and Magic Band to try and access the restricted section on one of the wall terminals. After several failed attempts, I received a comm message on my datapad from Cole. Cole offered to give me access to the restricted section of the terminal in exchange for helping him with a little problem in engineering. I was given several response options similar to a role-play video game and ultimately accepted his offer. He gave me access to the engineering room and I was well on my way down the path of the scoundrel. Had I declined his offer, I would have needed to find an alternative way to access the engineering room in the future. A keypad on the door can only be opened if your Magic Band has been granted access. Inside the engineering room, there were levers and mechanisms that needed to be triggered to achieve the mission. Once that was completed, I got a new comm message with instructions for the next step. Later on, when I bumped into Cole in a hallway, I covertly told him I had handled the situation, and he gave me a firm handshake and teased that there was more to come. He was right. Throughout the 2-day experience, opportunities to align with different characters crop up. How you interact with them through the data pad determines if you will receive missions from them in the future. Often these missions bring you face-to-face with the characters alongside several other guests who are following a similar path. Having rebuffed Croy's request to work with him, I aligned myself with Cole, Captain Kevin, and Mock. In doing so, I was invited to special, secretive meetings in the engineering room and on the navigation bridge during my journey. Forging these relationships also influenced my trip to Galaxy's Edge during the second day of the voyage. Alongside these missions are optional mini-events on the Halcyon, such as trivia games and sabacc tournament and droid racing. Those who want to be fully immersed in the story will find that there are few moments of downtime during the journey. However, if guests do decide to retire to their cabins for a while, they will still be alerted to key story moments. While resting in the early afternoon on the second day, I noticed the animation out of my viewport changed from gently rolling stars to whizzing light. We were going through hyperspace. A moment later, we were surrounded by TIE fighters. That was my cue to put my shoes on and head back to the atrium. When I arrived a few minutes later, I found that the First Order had set up a blockade and Croy was seeking to take command of the Halcyon. Quote, "There is no way that any one person could ever see it all in one cruise," Johnson said. Some of my favorite moments are those moments of community, seeing passengers say, "Oh, I was over here and I saw this. Oh, I met with a Wookiee in the engineering room and we think there's this secret plan." The kind of swapping stories, gossip of all different kinds of things that are unfolding aboard the Halcyon as the adventure befalls us is kind of the core of making sure it's a living story that you are a part of and navigating through. Of course, then there's the food, unlike Galaxy's Edge, where Chef Brian Pasecki and his team were creating one menu. The Galactic Starcruiser is a program of food, he said, with each dish contributing to the overall story. Future guests will need to decide if what Disney has presented is worth the hefty price tag. The immersive experience is unlike anything any theme park company has attempted before, and is a feat of storytelling. On the last night of the voyage, as all of the passengers were gathered in the atrium watching Croy pace the mezzanine above in sharp, militaristic fashion, I watched a little girl stand on a velvet cushioned bench. She glared defiantly at the First Order officer as he recounted how she had pulled on his gloved hand only hours before and called him a mean old man. He scoffed, and the crowd chuckled as he told her that everything that was happening, the entire blockade, was her fault. And she didn't flinch. Turning to a fellow passenger, I began softly chanting her name. The chant moved through the crowd until it was a roar. Croy was red in the face. She was smiling. And to me, that's worth the price of admission. CNBC has that review for us, and now it's time to talk about whether or not it's something we will do. Many thanks for that story. So it kind of makes you wonder, Gared.
Yeah.
Are we in a place where this type of experience is going to take over other intellectual property and we're going to have round-the-clock immersion? Or do you think the Galactic Starcruiser is going to flop? And also, just before we took that initial break and came into the story, I asked you whether or not you were looking forward to the Galactic Starcruiser, and you kind of gave me a yes and no answer. Let's start there. Why yes, why no?
So, yes, because it is my childhood dream to go into the Star Wars universe and be a character and live out that role. Because, like, as a kid, you'd get like a bathrobe and you'd put it on and you'd grab a lightsaber or a stick and you'd act like you were a Jedi, and that's amazing. And even now, as an adult, I have a lightsaber, and there are times where I'll take it out and I'll pretend like I'm saving the galaxy. And so that's why it's a yes, because to be able to experience this, like, this is LARPing or live action role playing to the highest level, where everyone is involved in the story, and the more involved you are, the more you get out of it. So that's why I'm like, man, this seems super cool. This is amazing. Like, who doesn't like how the characters interact with the guests? That is amazing. Like, where that little girl looks at that guy and will talk back to him, and then it's not scripted, and then you go from there. Right. That shows me how the story is a living, breathing entity of it, and how every time could be a different story, so to speak, just based on the interactions. Because say everyone one day just is like, yo, we're on the First Order side, that would probably change a whole bunch of things. So that's why I would love to do this, because it sounds like an amazing experience. You get to live out your childhood dreams. If you're a Star Wars nerd like me, it'd be so cool just to see that. But the reason I have to go with no is the price is just astronomical for two adults in a room. In a normal room for 2 days cost each of them $2,000. I could go on a Disney cruise for 7 days and splurge on extra food and gifts, and I could still maybe not even hit that 2,000 marker. So that's why I just the price is so high. And I've seen several videos of it. I've seen different things, and it looks amazing. But my biggest thing is, this is what should have been in Galaxy's Edge from the get-go. This is what we were kind of promised when they announced, like, hey, we're going to be building a Star Wars land where you can be a part of the story, where it's alive. And I've read several articles where, like, there was supposed to be, Kylo and Rey fighting on the rooftops around you, like the entire Batuu would be alive. And for them to say, like, hey, this is available, but in order for you to experience it, you gotta shell over a couple credits, and by a couple, several thousand credits. It makes it hard to swallow. If they lowered it, if they're like, what, for 2 days it's 1,000, I could consider that, because staying at the Grand Floridian, that could be $500 a night, and that's just for a room. So I could, if the price got lowered, I could justify it, but for the prices right now, I just can't get around it as much. It looks incredible. It looks immersive. And I would love similar experiences to this, but for right now, I can't jump on board. However, if anyone out there wants to, take me on their dime, then by all means, I will be 100% with it. And I'll do, I'll be the good guy. I'll be a bad guy. But I love the idea behind this. It's just the price tag, especially when it comes to, someone like me who, recent college graduate and, doesn't have, a lot of expendable cash. It's hard to justify that, because that could be rent or that could be food.
And you would consider yourself like a Star Wars superfan, right?
Yeah, I would say that. Like, I don't know, the deep, like, I haven't read the books or anything, but when it comes to, based off, whenever I see anything Star Wars, I stop and I'll watch what's going on. If it's on TV, I'll stop and watch it. So I consider myself a pretty big Star Wars fan, and I get into the story. I love, interacting with characters, and if they're like, alrighty, you would do resistance, I would go 100% into there, not be like, so how much you get paid in this job? I would go into it and make the story my own. Especially if you're paying that much, I'm getting the full story.
Sure.
I'm a main character. I'm not a support cast.
Right. Yeah. Put me in the A role. That's me.
Absolutely.
Oscar performance. That's correct. And it's weird to think that for two adults that this trip costs like $4,800 just about, and for a group of four, price tag is near $6,000, like you said. And it's I just think about how, and you said it there too, how a lot of the stuff was promised for Galaxy's Edge, and now it's behind this. It's like a paywall. You know, it's behind a paywall, and you need to spend $6,000 to get to it at this point. So that burns a little bit, because we saw the concept art. We saw that a lot of these things were supposed to be Galaxy's Edge specific, and now they're not. And I get it. This is a total immersion, but we can't just take the best or like a few bits and pieces here of what is in the Galactic Starcruiser and just sprinkle a little bit into Galaxy's Edge. Just make it a little bit more lived in.
Yeah, I had the thought of, if you want to really sell the Star Cruiser, what you could do is take some of the elements, like in the videos you're showing, there was a Rhodian, which is a green creature that sort of has like pursed lips and black eyes, and I've seen a video where they interact in the alien's language, and that's what I was hoping would be in Galaxy's Edge. So you add some of those characters, you add maybe a little bit more story, and then that's like, how can I experience more of this? And they're like, well, we have the Star Cruiser that you can actually go on, and it's even more immersive than what's here, because people are just going to see, only the wealthy or the elite can experience this, while us common people can't. I think, allow the Galactic Starcruiser to be its own thing, but also give the opportunity for people to experience these unique and amazing characters just walking around. Like, even if you just saw stormtroopers walking around the land rather than standing in front of a ship, that would be more immersive than what we currently have.
Absolutely. And we take a look at some of the food here that is being offered on the Galactic Starcruiser, and it does have a similar vibe, to me at least, of Satuli Canteen over at Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, you're right. The futuristic type looking food, that sandwich and that bao bun look bomb for sure.
So good. Absolutely. And I know that some of these photos are taken directly from people's stays, and there's clearly a Star Wars waffle there, and some of this stuff, I mean, it's all very creative. I know that they can only do so much, and they still have to keep it palatable and something that people would enjoy. But things are looking okay. They just remind me a lot of Satuli Canteen, that's for sure.
Yeah, it definitely has that vibe. The waffle, I've seen a video where someone got that waffle and then they give you syrup, and it's the perfect amount to where it fits in that little round shape on top, and it doesn't flow over. And I'm like, that is attention to detail right there, and I love it. I like how the purple muffin kind of looks moldy, but it's definitely edible. It looks incredible. I would love to eat the food, and I'm sure you would too, because you're our food expert on the channel. I hope they bring some of these dishes to Galaxy's Edge, not as glamorous, but a certain level. I want something more than a Ronto wrap.
Nothing screams appetizing like moldy muffin. You got that right.
I love moldy muffins.
Bring it on. Absolutely. And very interesting concepts, very creative. Exciting to see that Galactic Starcruiser has had its first official guests, at least in terms of media form. So pretty cool just to know that things are off and rolling. I don't know what's going to happen when it comes to... Granted, the room count is very small in this Starcruiser, but I don't know what's going to happen when they're not selling out routinely, because I think there's going to be an initial surge, and we even saw in past months how that surge died off, and the people that had sort of initially said, hey, I want to be the first ones in, we saw it, I think, multiple times, right? We saw
Yeah.
how they retracted multiple times. We saw how the audience, the guests that wanted to go, suddenly vanished and no longer had interest, and the people that had said we're coming suddenly weren't coming anymore. And it's very interesting to me also to see that there's no one from Imagineering that seems to want to really be the face of this. Usually you have one key Imagineer who's right out in front of everything and says, you know, I was the principal designer on it, or I was the driver on all of this, and here's why you should be excited. And I feel like we don't really see that face very much. In fact, the video that we ran here during the story, where you have the kid from the Goldbergs that was running around, that video was deleted by Disney after raging feedback, right? And so that face of Imagineering that was in that video, I mean, she barely got a chance to be seen and she was gone. So it's strange to me that nobody is out in front of this.
Yeah, you used to have, you know, Imagineers begging to talk about a topic. You know, right now the sort of face of Imagineering is Zach, and he is, you know, all gung-ho about Epcot. Like, he's posting constantly about that, but nothing else. Like, you don't have anyone that's like, yeah, Galaxy's Edge is my idea. I ran the whole thing. I forget the name. Who created Animal Kingdom? I apologize. Joe Rohde. Joe Rohde was the face of Animal Kingdom. He backed everything. Even if it was a bad idea, he put his mark on that. And it's sad that there is not an Imagineer, because I'm sure there are Imagineers out there that are in love with Star Wars, but it's sad that you can't get someone who's like, I'll put my mark on this. It's like an artist like creating a painting and it's like, I don't want to get in trouble, or I don't want to get yelled at if people don't like this. So I'm just going to walk away and leave it blank.
And the handful of videos that we did see from within the ship during the media preview, I mean, the ship looks incredible, but, you know, is there enough of a Star Wars rabid fan base with money out there to keep this thing going? Because I'll tell you again, I'm not somebody that even remotely enjoys Star Wars. I just never got into it. I've always had a hard time really being excited about it. This doesn't appeal to me at all. You know, like the idea sounds cool, but and certainly the scenes look really awesome, and that immersion looks really great. And I love Rise of the Resistance as a ride, and I, you know, because it has all these elements to it.
Yeah,
and you know, I enjoy certain pieces of Galaxy's Edge, but I in no way would ever be motivated to go on the Galactic Starcruiser. I just have no motivation to do it. Tisha and Megan, they say after that review, it seems like it would be hard to convey how the experience works in a simple advertisement. The key is to let the Force guide you. I like that, Tisha.
I like that. May the Force be with you, Tisha and Megan. Yeah, it's putting that into an advertisement is going to be hard, because you can be like, you get to be a part of your own Star Wars story for $6,000. Have fun.
When you heard there also that, you know, the CNBC reporter who was doing the review, basically they were talking to somebody from Imagineering who also really couldn't explain it. They were like, oh, you know, it's not really part this, but it's not really part that, but it's not really, it has elements of this and that, and we don't really know what to call it. And it's like, well, if you don't know how to describe it to the general public, because, you know, if you're trying to woo people in, eventually you're going to run through that initial Star Wars fan base that has the money to go, and either you're going to need to drop the money that it costs to get in, which means they're probably going to have to drop a lot of the elements of the ship, or that make it what it is, or, you know, you're going to have to figure out a better way to message this, because I don't think it's going to get across to everybody what it is, since it is so new and innovative.
Yeah, it's a completely different experience. It's LARPing mixed with, I guess, a vacation, but also a theme park experience. Like, getting to go into the park of Batuu is awesome, and how there is story elements in there, but that the story elements in Batuu should already be there, because when they came out with that, they said, oh, you'll be able to interact with locals and then people, and like, say you go into a bar and you talk to someone, then people around you will treat you differently depending on what side you're on. And I'm like, that sounds awesome, but it doesn't exist, and it's a shame.
Absolutely. Jeff says, I remember when New Hope came out back in 1977 and loved Star Wars, but for $6,000, I can take my whole family on a week-long Disney cruise.
Hey,
very similar sentiments. Yeah, very similar to you, Gared. And Tinker says, I'm not a Star Wars fan, but I've always felt an entire Star Wars park at Walt Disney World probably would have been better. All of these elements could have been incorporated into a park. Well, you know, and I feel like, Tinker, that, I mean, again, I go back to this idea that they promised a lot with Galaxy's Edge, and then when it opened, in terms of wide open vistas and recreating certain elements, those were wow worthy, but then that wears off really quick and you're like, yeah, but what am I going to do here throughout the day outside of ride the Millennium Falcon, which gets very, very low marks in terms of people's enjoyment, and then try and get on Rise of the Resistance, which people have a very hard time doing now unless you want to pay $20 via Lightning Lane to go do it. Outside of that, it's like, well, I hope that some stormtroopers are nearby, or I hope I can get a picture of Chewie somewhere. It's not, it feels like any other land, just more like on a grander scale, basically.
Yeah, it's almost identical to I guess World of Pandora, where you're taken to this different world and there are different aspects of there, but it doesn't, you can only do so much in there with 2 attractions and a few dining areas. Like, sure, you can build a lightsaber, but there is a cost. You can build droids, but there's a cost. You want to enjoy blue milk, there's a cost. So yeah, a full park would be very, very cool. Especially when you could even make the park about all the different movies. Like, this is episode 1 through 3, 4 through 6, and 7 through 9. But I'm wondering if after a while, if the supply is higher than the demand, what do they do? And also, if you can't use the same story for years and years and years, because people will get bored of it, people that maybe want to come back. So how do you then adapt the entire ship into something new? Do you then bring in characters like the Mandalorian and all that stuff? So there's a lot of unknowns going on. And I guess after, by the end of summer, we'll know how busy this thing is, depending on how many open reservations there are. And if Disney does drop that price tag, that will be the first indicator that they are not selling enough.
Big time, because Disney almost never drops the price tag. So we might just see, some discounted rates for the sake of like promos and trying and entice more people to, try and make an attempt to go visit and experience it themselves. We might see like, winter rates, for a limited time, you can enjoy the Galactic Starcruiser for half the price or something like that. Yeah. As soon as we start hearing stuff like that, oh, you are correct, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, because they put a lot of time and a lot of effort into there. I'm sure the money they put into this experience, they could have put back into the parks, or put into Galaxy's Edge and made it so much bigger and badder than it actually is. Badder in a good way than it actually is.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that we see some of these elements bleed over into Galaxy's Edge itself, just because now we know that it's out there. It's about time. Also, one of the things that I noticed is that, this Galactic Starcruiser media preview opened just in time for the mask mandate to drop, so a lot of people weren't wearing masks indoors, which I think helped add to the story that you really were somewhere else, so I'm sure that was very helpful. But in addition to that, I don't know if you noticed, but all of the characters were not distanced. You were able to stand right next to them, talk to them face to face. I mean, it was not as though they were put 6 feet away. I think this might be a glimpse of something come.
Fingers crossed, bringing back, up close and personal entertainment experiences. That's what I live for.
You live for it.
I do indeed.
All right. And Lori Jean says, I'm a big Star Wars fan for a long time.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, that's good to hear. All right. Very good, Lori Jean. Well, you stick around, folks. As I mentioned, I know that was kind of long-winded. There was a lot going on with that review, and Galactic Starcruiser is, off and running, and will officially be welcoming in normal guests, not media people, starting in early March. So we will see how ratings continue to either incline, decline. Maybe it will flatline. We'll see. But I know we are all looking forward to hearing more about it as more people get to experience it along the way. And just after the break coming up, we are going to be hearing a story about Mr. Ken Potrock, the Disneyland Resort president, sharing all kinds of responses about what Disneyland has been like from the reopening just past the pandemic, what we'll call it clearance, being allowed to reopen Disneyland, to now, and what the future of Disneyland looks like. He shared an awful lot during an interview with the Orange County Register recently. Can't wait to share that with you. It's coming up straight ahead. Don't go anywhere.
Looking for some digital magic to help you through your week? The Kingdom Report is here for you, covering the latest Disneyland and Disney World news, experiences, and events. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Kingdom Report Live so you never miss an update. And drop a subscribe on the Kingdom Report YouTube channel for new videos every week. Don't miss out. Join this growing community of theme park fans as we aim to connect you to more of what makes you happy. For more information, visit kingdomreportlive.com. And now, back to the magic.
Hi, happy birthday.
Disney News Talk Live. Hey friends, so grateful to have you with us. You're hanging out with Wade and Gared from the Kingdom Report, talking all things Disney parks from coast to coast, Disneyland to Disney World. Always a great treasure to have you with us. Always a blessing to be a part of your weekend or your week if you're listening after the fact. As always, make sure that you've hit that thumbs up button and you are subscribed so you never miss a thing. We have all kinds of news updates coming throughout the week, as well as vlogs and experiences that we love to share with you. You got to do Disney right, especially nowadays when it costs so dang much, and we try and help you through it with a trusted theme park perspective that certainly is different than the rest. We try and connect you to more of what makes you happy. Garrett, do you like making people happy? You prefer that?
I hate it.
It's the worst, right?
I love making people happy. I believe it is my life's journey to try and make people smile and entertain them as best I can.
Well, maybe you should start then.
Okay, I'll get on to that.
God dang it. Hey, well, Ken Potrock, the president of the Disneyland Resort, knows a thing or two about making people happy, being the foremost authority of the happiest place on earth. He's a guy that recently came to power, like during the pandemic, as a matter of fact. He got named President, El Presidente of Disneyland. And I know that as somebody that sort of rose to power during the pandemic, he's had to deal with all kinds of just crap, right? He's had to deal with all kinds of really unfortunate things. And from what I hear from everybody that I used to work with over at the Disneyland Resort, they really like him. They say he's super engaging. He's just a terrific human being, very much a sort of low profile individual. He doesn't even feel presidential. He just feels very approachable. That's a nice thing to hear. You know, a majority of Disneyland presidents, I feel like, have had that aura to them. Certainly some that have not. And fortunately, they've moved on and left the company because they probably didn't belong in the role. But he, for example, is one of those. I know George Kalagridis, who was at Disneyland for quite a while and then moved out to be Walt Disney World's president, now is the president of Enrichment Experiences, and it's a fascinating title. But at any rate, he's in charge of other things now abroad. But Ken Potrock took over Disneyland recently. He's had a lot to deal with, Gared.
Oh, yes, he has. And like, he looks like a friendly guy. He seems like someone you could go up to and just have a nice chat with, and wouldn't be like, I got busier things to do. He seems like, I don't know, like a buddy. And,
like a buddy.
And that's who you need at the happiest place on earth. And folks, if you're unaware, Disney World is the most magical place on earth. Disneyland is the happiest place on earth. Let's, just in case there's any questioning of that, Disneyland's happy.
Thank you for setting the record straight.
Yes, I had to.
Now it's out there.
But no, he's dealt with a lot of things, and in California, especially during these past 2 years, it's been a rough journey. But good for him, he stuck it out. He's probably been under a lot of stress, but he's doing a great job, and he's bringing a lot of great things back to Disneyland.
Hear, hear. And he has an awful lot to say when it comes to having taken over during the pandemic and what life has been like from that point to now, and even discussing sort of what the future is going to be like for Disneyland, especially with all of the new mechanisms to control crowds and the entertainment that's coming back. He definitely did not mince words when it came to his chat with our dear friend, Mr. Brady McDonald over at the Orange County Register. Let's jump into that story. The following comes to us from LA Daily News. Writer Brady McDonald had an opportunity to sit down with Disneyland Resort President Ken Potrock recently, and this was their exchange. First, Brady writes, "The amount of change that has taken place at Disneyland since the pandemic closure of the Anaheim theme park is enough to make anybody's head spin. But Ken Potrock seems serenely at ease in the middle of the storm swirling all around him, and partly of his own making." The Disneyland Resort president and change agent paused briefly amid his never-ending ride aboard the twirling teacups known as the happiest place on earth to discuss all that's happened during his tenure that began during the year-long coronavirus closure of the park. Brady asks, "Is Disneyland changing at a faster rate now?" And Potrock responds, "The pandemic created a canvas for us to paint on. It opened a variety of really interesting opportunities for us to rethink our approach to business. Things like reservation systems and Genie Plus, or any number of different things. All of those have been created to try and better manage the guest experience. Sometimes we get it just right, other times it needs some modification, and that's okay because the Disneyland Resort is a continuously evolving place. Our objective, always, is to create a great experience, and if we don't get it perfect the first time, we're going to keep trying until we do." Brady writes, "Despite the off-season, Disneyland is bustling with the parking trams recently returning, debut dates set for a host of nighttime spectaculars, a looming closing date for Mickey's Toontown ahead of a year-long renovation, and the approach of the annual Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival." Brady asks Potrock, "How would you assess the state of the Disneyland Resort today?" And Potrock responds by saying, "If you go back not quite a year, we were closed. The ability to reopen the gates started this momentum and got the ball rolling. Along the way, we keep having these symbolic milestones or mile markers. We really are building momentum, and it's really exciting to see. Our guests feel it, our cast members feel it. Everybody is starting to feel like whatever the new normal looks like as we go forward, it's almost there. Are we back to what we were before? We're back to better, and there's more yet to come." Brady writes, "State-mandated COVID-19 health and safety restrictions required California theme parks to institute reservation systems to limit crowd levels when the parks first reopened after the year-long pandemic closures. Most theme parks dropped the reservation systems as soon as they could, but Disneyland and California Adventure kept reservations in place for day visitors and annual pass holders as a way to manage attendance levels." So Brady asks Potrock, "How have reservations changed the Disneyland experience?" Potrock says, "It's been an extraordinary change. People ask me if reservations are going to go away. I don't think so. Reservations create a really important opportunity for us to be able to manage the demand more effectively than we ever could. If you remember the days where we would have huge quantities of people coming into the park, wall to wall, cheek to cheek, then you remember the days where we didn't have as many people. The objective here is to spread that demand, whether it's a Tuesday or a Saturday. If we do that, a couple of really good things happen. One, it's a better experience for all. Two, we can better manage the labor scenario in a more efficient way." Brady writes that the new Disney Genie service that debuted in December as part of the Disneyland mobile app replaced the retiring FastPass and MaxPass line-cutting option. Disney's new personal assistant service was divided into three parts, the free Disney Genie option, the $20 Disney Genie Plus line-cutting service, and Lightning Lane Access that charges anywhere from $7 to $20 per ride for the most popular attractions. More than a third of Disneyland and Disney World visitors purchase either Genie Plus, Lightning Lane, or both, and that number rises to 50% during busy holiday periods, according to Disney CEO Bob Chapek. So, Brady asks Potrock, what has been the guest reaction to Genie Plus and Lightning Lanes? Potrock responds by saying, "It's been pretty extraordinary. We're getting very high take rates. A large percentage of the guests are wanting to use it. One of the things that we're finding is that those that use it are feeling that their experience was better and that they had an opportunity to do everything that they wanted to do. And that's really important. At the same time, we can't forget about guests who aren't wanting to use it. We're working very hard to improve the Genie service, which is a free service, by the way, that helps navigate people through the park more effectively and efficiently. That's going to be very valuable as well. Ultimately, all boats need to rise. Brady McDonald writes, Mickey's Toontown in Disneyland will close on March 9th for an extensive renovation ahead of the grand opening of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway Dark Ride in early 2023. The Toontown makeover will include new children's play areas and fountains at the center of the reimagined land dubbed Centennial Park, along with a dreaming tree that pays tribute to Walt Disney's vivid imagination. Gadget's Go Coaster, Goofy's House, and Donald's Boat will be reimagined as part of the transformation. Mickey's House and Minnie's House will remain after the year-long makeover, along with the recently updated Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin Dark Ride. Brady asks, what's Toontown going to look like once the renovation is complete? Potrock responds by saying, looking at that land as an opportunity to really improve upon the experience for families with younger kids is a big objective of ours. It's going to become much more interactive. It's going to have much more park space to picnic, sit in the grass, and for kids to run around. That's going to be a really special place for us here at the resort. We're working really hard on making Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway a fabulous attraction. It's in Florida already, and it's going to be even better here because it has some enhancements that Florida's doesn't have. Brady writes, after nearly a year, the phased reopening of the Disneyland Resort continues with a few attractions, shops, restaurants, and indoor live shows that have still not returned. Character meet and greet photo opportunities continue to take place from a safe physical distance, which leads Brady to ask, what other major milestones still lay ahead for Disneyland? Potrock responds, we're continuing to put a focus on special events. That's going to be a big growth area. Bringing the Food and Wine Festival back is a good example of that. The character experience is something that's different than it was in 2019. While we're optimistic that the character experience is going to get back to a new normal, many of the things that we did with the characters standing behind you and social distancing, a lot of that worked. But that's not the only way we want to have people interact with characters. That will be a big milestone change as we go forward. There's a lot more coming. One of the things that's so exciting about the company are our intellectual properties, the movies and TV shows that are coming out, and we're working really hard to quickly infuse that IP into the Disneyland Resort. Sometimes in a matter of weeks, so not everything takes 4 years to build. We're very focused on that, so that we're always fresh and different, and there's always something new to see, close quote. Once again, our many thanks to Brady McDonald and the Orange County Register for this fantastic interview. Gared, he said a lot of things there. He certainly covered a wide spectrum, and again, thanks to Brady McDonald of the Orange County Register for letting us know, all of these answers, all these responses. But is there anything that stood out to you in terms of that interview where you're thinking, all right, I can't believe he said that, or it's really interesting he mentioned this? Anything that stands out to you from that interview that is worth talking about?
The thing that stood out to me, definitely a positive note, was that we try and make things as good as we can. I'm paraphrasing, of course, and if we don't do it right, then we try and do everything we can to make it right. Just hearing that, is taking responsibility for your actions. Like, if an experience is bad, we're not just going to leave it like that, and that's a very big Walt Disney mentality where it's we're not going to just we want to put out the best. We're not going to put out this thing because Walt hated the Coney Island type of theme parks where it was like kind of run down and there wasn't much care put in. So for him to say that we're going to try and take care of things, that means a lot. So I hope that that means Tomorrowland will get a makeover. We've been hoping for that for a while. That will happen. But I'm still shocked that Disney Genie Plus is as successful as it is because it's a big price tag, especially when you buy the individual attractions. But overall, I think he's doing a great job, and he's putting a positive spin on the story, and he's doing his job. He's promoting Disneyland, and he brought back World of Color, Main Street Electrical, Parade, Fantasmic, and several other things. And I know anyone could have done that, but for it to happen, it's just amazing. And I think sounds like he is a great leader at Disney and someone that deserves to be in his position. There are several times where you get a manager who it's just a manager, but it seems like he's a leader. So I'm excited for what the future has to come. Very optimistic, and that I'm looking forward to seeing what Toontown entails. I was shocked that they were like, we have enhancements that the one in Disney World doesn't have, and I'm like, oh,
Yes.
and that really that caught my eye, that caught my ear. Also, I was like, now that's intriguing, because I was at the opening day of Mickey and Minnie's at Hollywood Studios, so I'm curious, like, what's different? New technology, new scenes? I'll just have to wait and see.
Very much looking forward to that myself. I definitely picked up on it, and I thought, ooh, look at you dropping little Easter eggs. Thank you, sir. Yeah, in addition to that, I would also say he kind of emphasized, well, number one, he flat out said reservations aren't going anywhere. We saw that writing on the wall. I think Josh Tomorrow, the chairman of parks, also said the same thing. We're not going to get rid of reservations. This allows us to manage so much. And Potrock said the same thing, very similar, of like, oh yeah, not only can we better predict our crowd patterns and adjust, but we can also, more than anything, develop strategies around labor, because that's their biggest, right? That's what they throw all their money at. So we can also create strategies around labor, so we don't have to worry about it. And then the other big aspect of what he had mentioned that I wanted to point out, he's definitely going all in on private parties and special events, because they know what a cash cow that is. And so I'm willing to bet we're going to be seeing here probably a new announcement come summertime for the rest of the year. I think they're going to go all in on Christmas this time and not just have a few events. I think it'll be like Disney World, where it's like every other night, for Christmas parties. And certainly Halloween has already taken off at Disneyland in years past. So I think the special event business is what Disneyland is about to get into.
Oh yeah, I think so as well. And Disney World does a good job, but there's something different about Disneyland doing it, because I remember back to like when I've seen documentaries about like date night at Disneyland, where the park will be open until 2 a.m. and like it's a big party just for adults. Like, that's the kind of parties that I think it fits well with Disneyland better than Disney World. And Disneyland has, I think, a more dedicated fan base than Disney World in some aspects, where it's a lot more locals. You have, the entire population of California pretty much all directly going to Disneyland. And I really hope they bring back, the 90s nights or the villains nights, where, they have these special characters that you don't get to see, like Robin Hood and, King John or Prince John and all these other amazing things. So private events and that stuff, if they do it right, I'm down for it. It's better than, a dessert party.
There always seems to be a dessert party, doesn't there? Yes. It's always somewhere. Oh. Yeah, I like that he to a certain degree, is trying his best to make things sound uber positive. Certainly the trams taking as long as they did to come back. A lot of people say, well, thanks for doing the bare minimum. That was an expectation, from the moment you returned. But here we are, almost 2.5 years later, and we're still, just now seeing these things come to fruition. And I know that when it comes to things like, Marvel Land in California Adventure, the Avengers campus specifically, it's a place that's supposed to live and breathe. And it sounds like, especially with, Toontown and sort of the next edition of what Disneyland is planning on, it sounds like they want more places like this that live and breathe and you can go hang out in for a bit, especially, in all of his comments about Toontown being this sort of livable play area. Yeah. That's exciting, especially for kids to run and play. I just hope that they connect that backside of the park over to Galaxy's Edge finally, because that dead end has always been such a succubus.
Yeah, no, it steals you away, or you're like, man, there's only one way to get there. That's a long walk. Like, yeah, they need to make transportation to and from that location a little bit more streamlined. But in the past, I like when I was a kid, I'd play in Toontown, and it was a blast. But then as an adult, you're like, well, I can't really fit into any of the houses anymore. Gadget's Go Coaster, I will probably fly out of the seat because I'm either too heavy or too tall. So, adding this, neighborhood park, I guess, addition is definitely refreshing to see. And I'll go hang out there. It seems like whenever I go to Disneyland, Toontown's either closed for fireworks or I get there too late. So I'm going to get there bright and early so that way I can enjoy that park scene and, sit back, relax, and watch all the Toontown, because who doesn't want to be in a cartoon world for a little bit?
And when he said Gadget's Go Coaster, Goofy's House, and Donald's Boat will be reimagined as part of the transformation, I wonder how that will be reimagined, because those are all right next to each other in that back corner of Toontown. And, of course, Chippendale's Treehouse, I'm sure, is going to be torn out. It has to be. It's pointless now. It's a couple of steps and you're done. The ball pit that used to be back there has been sort of cordoned off for years. You haven't been able to access it. So, yeah, I wonder what that is going to turn into or be enhanced by.
Well, they are doing the new Chip and Dale's movie soon, the new Rescue Ranger film. So maybe they'll add something into that. But I'm pumped. You know, a new Goofy and Donald house, that is exciting. And Gadget Go Coaster. A lot of people don't even know who Gadget is.
Right.
Because it was from Rescue Rangers, which came out in the 90s. Like, that's what I watched as a kid. So maybe they'll transform it into... I don't know, Chippendale's Acorn Riders. I don't know. This is why I'm not an Imagineer, because I don't have the creative names down.
But your life purpose is to make people happy, so
I make people happy by goofing around and creating corny jokes.
That's our goof. That's him. Amen. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing whatever changes come to that section, because it's just so dead. And I know for a long period of time, I was only hearing people, I still, to this day, only hear people refer to Gadget's Go Coaster as Inspector Gadget, because they have no idea.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was for the longest time as well, until it was like, oh, that is there's a character named Gadget.
Who knew? Yeah, unless you happen to be a part of the broadcasts that ran with Gadget as a character, it's very difficult to know exactly what that backstory is and who that character is. So, yeah, we'll see what happens when it comes to that all in the backside of Disneyland. I'm looking forward to some big changes coming our way. Tisha and Megan say, our first visit in October was very sad compared to our recent visit last week to Disneyland. Genie Plus went a long way into making our trip easier and more enjoyable. Tisha and Megan, that's a wonderful thing to hear. Certainly not something that we hear very often. And, it's a lot of poo-pooing of the Genie Plus, a lot of negativity being thrown at it. So thank you for speaking out and saying that it made your trip more enjoyable. That's cool.
Yeah.
Rita ends up saying to us, I have found that I do not need to buy Genie Plus when at Disneyland. What I am glad to see is more live acts like the Straw Hatters. When Disneyland reopened, it was in need of a good cleaning. Yeah, that was something that really shocked me, is when Disneyland came back, it was like, wait a minute, did they not remember to send custodial through here? Like, did they? This place has been closed for 2 years. You would think that cleaning was kind of an important thing to do, but yeah, things are finally sparkling again.
Yeah, and Disneyland's live acts like the Straw Hatters or the Dapper Dans there are just top of the line. They are so amazing, and I think really make Disneyland unique in that way, where their live entertainment, it just can't be beat.
Hear, hear. Brian says, he's got an idea. Chip and Dale's Search for Salty Nuts.
I'm down. Let's do it.
There it is. All right, Brian. Commit that one. Commit that one to the Imagineering archives right there, so that they can pull from it and develop it and create it, not just in Disneyland, but all around the world.
Absolutely.
That's what they would need. Tish and Megan said, it's almost a requirement for guests to do their homework before their visit. If they are better educated on what to expect and how the park works, Disneyland is wonderful if you come prepared. Yeah, it's how a Disney vacation has become, period, I think, to any Disney park. If you don't do your homework, you can't just show up and have a good time anymore. It's very hard to do that. It's a very difficult thing to do. You miss out on so much, and you're probably going to be disappointed a time or two, because you're not going to realize certain things were available, or you're going to miss something due to a cutoff. And so, yeah, you really do have to do a lot of homework, which I think is why the rise of channels like ours and, outlets like ours are so popular in recent years. It's because people need to figure out how to navigate all this. There's a lot to it.
Yeah, you can't just, it's not like going to Six Flags Magic Mountain where you're just like, oh, we got roller coasters. No, Disney is a living and breathing beast. It really is a beast where you got to almost have it planned out to the moment. And if not, you can miss out, but that's what makes it, I guess, more memorable than those other theme parks where at Disneyland, if you miss something, oh man, I got to do that next time. So yeah, do your research, people. Read up. Don't just, if you're a pro, then hey, just go in there. But if you've never been to the parks before or haven't been in a while, definitely look up some of the things that should be done and things that probably can be put off for another visit.
Very true. Great advice. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about prices. We're going to be talking about how every day it seems like there is an add-on, an upcharge out at Walt Disney World. Certainly Disneyland's prices have also been kicked up a notch for certain ticket classifications recently, but Walt Disney World ticket prices, as well as lots of other add-ons and expenditures, have gone up. In addition to that, attendance is soaring. We're going to talk about all of it after the break. Disney News Talk Live, as always, thank you for being a part of this here broadcast. Whether you are watching Facebook Live or YouTube Live, we want to thank you for doing so and contributing to the comment section. It helps drive the broadcast. Your comments can and often are seen right here. In addition to that, if you're watching after the fact on demand, we do encourage you to leave a comment underneath this very video to let us know exactly what you think about each topic that you hear, each news story, because this is about your opinion, your Disney parks perspective. You're hanging out with Gared and Wade from the Kingdom Report, and today we are talking about all kinds of stories from coast to coast, including exactly what is going on out at Walt Disney World in terms of pricing nowadays and how attendance is soaring. Why don't we jump right into that? The following comes to us from the timesnews.net. They write, by the end of her family's week-long trip to Walt Disney World, Danielle Perry and her husband will have spent $10,000. That bill includes travel from Brighton, Michigan for the family of 5, a stay at the Saratoga Springs Resort, and skip-the-line access with Genie Plus and Lightning Lane. The family planned the trip for 2 years and watched prices rise. Still, they wanted to go all out for their children, ages 5, 3, and 1, saying, quote, if we come again, then it's probably not going to be for another 3 to 5 years, so we figured, go big or go home, she said. Experts say inflation and higher operating costs are helping to force entertainment prices up, and not just at theme parks. But some Disney World fans are questioning the value, as some benefits have disappeared during the pandemic. Disney has reported near record revenue as spending in the parks climbs and pre-COVID attendance rebounds.
John and Diane Sensing, who are over 65 and have been annual pass holders for more than 20 years, say their passes have lost value since it's considerably more expensive to visit now. They said the company is giving priority to occasional visitors who tend to spend a lot over brief trips over pass holders who pay a premium for regular access but still shell out. Saying, quote, "A friend of ours who actually works for Disney said it has become a park of have and have-nots," said Diane Sensing of Reading, Pennsylvania. "If you want to get value out of the park, you have to pay, and pay." Disney spokesman Avery Mayer said the company offers visitors an array of price points while it expands the offerings at its parks. Quote, "We continue to invest in creating attractions and services that wow our guests and enhance the experience with a wide range of options to match different budgets and interests, giving them more choice, more flexibility, and more convenience," he said in a statement. Disney is not alone in raising prices. Other entertainment, such as concert and theater tickets, are also increasing, experts said. It isn't the only theme park becoming more expensive either, though it is generally the highest priced in the industry, said Carissa Baker, a University of Central Florida assistant professor of theme park and attraction management. Universal Orlando has upped the cost of a one-day, one-park ticket in recent years, including an $11 increase in 2019 and a $4 increase in early 2020. Many of its past price hikes apparently were in response to Disney's. In 2022, one-day ticket prices for both resorts cost $109 to $159 per day, depending on the date. Disney tends to get more criticism than its competitors because it has a history of setting itself apart and has a fervent fan base, said Rick Menarez, an entertainment analyst at The Motley Fool. For example, while Disney introduced its paid Skip the Line program years after parks like Universal and SeaWorld had done so, fans were skeptical of the $15 per day Genie Plus and variably priced Lightning Lane. Saying, quote, "Disney is sort of doing what everybody else is doing," he said. Parks are saying, how can we maximize our money by not increasing our capacity? But theme park planning specialists like Disney Food Blog owner AJ Wolf say Disney removing free access to some services mean visitors are getting less and paying more. Within the past year, Disney had stopped its complimentary Magical Express shuttle from Orlando International Airport and ended extra magical hours, which gave hotel guests bonus time in the parks. Early morning access to the parks has temporarily resumed for all hotel guests, but additional evening hours, generally 2, are only available for those staying at certain locations like deluxe hotels. Mayer said the Magical Express was not meeting guest needs and that the early entry gives all hotel guests 30 extra minutes in the parks daily. Lynn Testa, a computer scientist and owner of the theme park planning website Touring Plans, said Disney's prices have generally risen faster than the average hourly wage in the U.S., pricing many out. Saying, quote, "The bottom 40% of Americans, I don't think, can afford even a 2-day visit to Disney World. It's just beyond the amount of money that they could spend a year on a vacation," he said. Disney's base and top ticket prices have not changed since 2019, Testa said, but the company has increased the ticket costs for dates outside the resort's slowest and busiest times. Touring Plans data shows the price of a regular ticket has gone up from $122 to $135 since 2019, at an average annual increase of 3.4%. The annual inflation rate averaged about 2.5% from 2019 to 2021, data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics showed. Over the past year, it shot up 7.5%. When new annual pass sales restarted in September after a pandemic-related pause, fans found prices had increased while benefits like PhotoPass and water park access were removed from the top tiers and reintroduced as $99 add-ons. Mayer said pass holders get benefits such as ride previews and discounts. Disney has determined the typical pass holder is visiting just as often now as in 2019, he said, and the company has seen pass renewal rates exceed pre-pandemic levels. Most new annual pass sales have been suspended again. Menarez, who owns Disney stock, predicted Disney prices will continue to rise over the next year, but probably at a slower pace, saying, quote, maybe in April of next year, there's a come to Mickey moment where they realize, hey, I think we have to hold back on the increases and maybe return a feature or two, he said. Disney's recent near-record park revenue was driven by visitors spending more on things such as on hotels and food and beverages, Disney's chief financial officer Christine McCarthy said during an earnings call. Touring plans data showed this lowest price for a one-night stay at Pop Century, Disney's most visited value resort, rose from $131 in 2019 to $168 in 2022, a 28% increase. The least expensive one-night stay at Port Orleans Riverside, the most popular moderate value resort, now costs $266 compared to $232 in 2019. Food and drink prices have also generally risen across the resort, according to the Disney food blog, and things like a Mickey waffle meal, which cost 50 cents to $2 more in January 2022, depending on the restaurant, and $1 pricier popcorn buckets tend to add up. Mayer said many of Disney's food prices are at or below standard industry cost. Diane Sensing said she and her husband used to always stay at Port Orleans Riverside, but they now stay off-property after prices, quote, skyrocketed. On a trip to the Magic Kingdom on Wednesday, the two said they spent nearly $40 at the Pecos Bill Cafe for a fast food lunch that was better than average for a theme park, but still pricey. Despite the higher costs, people still are willing to pay, as the various 90-minute wait times at the Magic Kingdom on a recent Thursday clearly showed. The nostalgia surrounding theme parks often causes people to forget that these companies are businesses that aim to make profits. Baker said, quote, "We do tend to see these businesses as somewhat different, as maybe integral to our childhood and to our family." John Sensing said he used to feel special, but doesn't anymore. Saying, quote, "I understand their business model. They want to get people in from out of town who don't live here to stay at the hotels and entice them to go to the park," Sensing said. But don't ignore that cash flow, that revenue that you get every year as soon as we pay our pass holder fee. Once again, a big thanks to the Times News for that story.
It's a tale as old as time, it seems like, Gared, where prices are increasing, attendance goes up, there doesn't seem to be a good medium, and unfortunately we all have to grin and bear it.
Yeah, the prices just keep going and going and going, and it is, it's a shame that it happens, but it's business. I just wish sometimes, business would be a little nicer.
No kidding, yeah, and I feel for those families that really do only come once in a great while, and this is the reason why, they just can't afford it. And I get it, Disney is a luxury. It's not a privilege, and so you're paying for a premium experience, but every year the prices go up, and certainly it continues to be something that is quite a challenge for people to go and enjoy that might not necessarily make all that much money. Patty Raditich says, "A come to Mickey moment." Yeah, that was one of my favorite things from the story too. A come to Mickey moment. Brian says, "With inflation, the costs will continue to rise for non-ticket items. Dining will cost more, as well as clothing and toys purchases." Yes, very true. Mm-hmm. I know that between that and supply chain issues that continue to sort of plague everybody, Disney parks are not absolved from that. In fact, I've even heard cast members say, "Oh, it's a supply chain issue. We don't have what you're looking for." I've heard that out of their mouths recently, and that's very jarring, to hear that in a Disney park.
Yeah, especially this past year and how everything's been going. There's so much more demand than there is of supply, and you just have to remain patient. But hey, I think they have a lot more Figment popcorn buckets out there now. So if you want those should be there. You just won't be able to get the popcorn that goes inside.
Very true. And Rita says there have been more people since masks have been dropped. And that's certainly something that we're seeing a lot more of, for sure. I think that there were many folks that were looking forward to that being thrown out. And then as soon as those mask mandates got dropped for the sake of indoors by Disney, I think there was a certain segment of the population that was like, yeah,
we're not coming back until we can really enjoy it. And I know going into especially in Orlando, those hotter times of year. Oh, how miserable it is to wear a mask at any point.
I remember when I first came back and it was mask and it was September and it was I would take 2 masks because I would sweat through my first one and it was exhausting. It was only in the relaxation areas that you could really take them off, and I was like, my gosh, this is just exhaustingly hot. So yeah, with masks being dropped, you're definitely going to get the crowds coming back, but despite the prices going up, the crowds are not ceasing. Usually, you'd have people be like, man, this isn't worth it, we're not going to go. And then, Disney would notice that and then they'd lower the price, but people just keep coming. Disney knows that they've got, they've got the shiny apple that everyone wants to bite out of, and they can charge whatever they want because, they've got the game until, competition like Universal really, has something that can pull the attention away from Disney. Disney right now has has the control.
That big epic universe park, I think might just be we've talked about it here before. I think that might just be the park to do it out in Orlando at least. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Patty Reditich says, a come to Mickey moment is long overdue. As much as I love Disney, a trip to Europe is cheaper and includes great adventures and historical interests. Portugal is a third of the cost for airfare from California, hotels, great food, and cultural entertainment. It doesn't replace Disney, but your family will have a great experience for 1/3 of the price. Yeah. And Patty, I have to say, there was I believe it was a Fox station story. They did basically a study on whether or not it was cheaper for Californians in particular to go visit Disneyland or to visit Disneyland Paris. So Disneyland Anaheim or Disneyland Paris. For Californians, it's cheaper in, I think it was June is what they said, it's cheaper in June to visit Disneyland Paris for a week than it is to come stay on property at Disneyland Anaheim in your own state. Yeah. It's cheaper. Yeah. By like $900, I think is what it was too. It wasn't even a few bucks. No. This was significant.
That's crazy considering you have to take pretty much a 12-hour flight to get to Charles de Gaulle Airport. If I've had the opportunity to go to Disneyland Paris, and it is an amazing park. It's beautiful. The lines are short. Even a long line was only 40 minutes, and the food over there, I think it's better. Maybe it's because they have a lot of French butter and everything, but yeah, if you have the opportunity, try and go overseas. It might be cheaper in the long run to go international parks rather than domestic. And all the parks, they have a very large English speaking cast member base, especially Tokyo. Tokyo apparently loves Americans when they come out there, and Americans get treated like royalty. So maybe we all need to take a trip to Tokyo Disney Sea and check it out, because that's the next international park I want to go to, because it looks amazing and the food just looks amazing. The Oriental Land Company, they know what they're doing out there for sure.
They do Disney better than Disney does Disney. I've heard it often said.
It's kind of sad that might be true.
Yep. And Alaska Tiki Room says, Universal Orlando is looking really good to us. Our Disney World Annual Pass is expiring at the end of March. We won't be renewing. Thanks for all your great content. Well, thank you, Alaska. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that you won't be renewing, but boy, another testament to the fact that I think the Disney diehards are starting to burn out.
Yeah, it looks that way. They're not getting as much bang for their buck, especially when you have an unlimited pass, but then you don't have access all the time because, of reservations. That'd be reason for people to turn away and, go to the cheaper option, which is Universal, and, get more enjoyment.
Very true. And I think that with that Epic Universe, it's really going to change things. Oh. I think we're going to start seeing a big shift. That's for sure.
Yes, indeed.
All right, very good. Well, I also wanted to point out to everyone that we took a poll recently about whether or not Disney parks were headed in the right direction, and you responded. This is what our audience said. 87% said no, that they've lost focus of the guest experience, and 13% said yes, they're expanding and giving us more of what we want. So I think about, this last story that we heard about Walt Disney World pricing going up, and then you heard from the Disney spokesperson that ended up saying, saying something along the lines of like, oh, we have tremendous value and we offer so many price points. And, they say the same things all the time. But we heard from them. And so they said, we're giving people what they want. We also heard the same thing from Ken Potrock, the president of the Disneyland Resort, earlier in his story during his interview, where he said, hey, we're trying to give people more of what they want. We're trying to maximize all of the excitement and the experience. We're trying to make it better. However, the Kingdom Report viewer poll, which I gotta say, we have some of the most dedicated and educated fans out there in terms of people that love Disney. 87% of them said no, they've lost focus on the guest experience. And this is something I keep going back to because I'm like, all right, if you're losing your core audience in an effort to try and just appeal to more people at large, are you losing something about your identity? Are you losing something about your culture that can't be replaced?
Yeah, I think, I have to agree with they've lost focus of the guest experience. The parks just seem to have more life to them in the past, and now it seems more like a money grab. And I get it, they lost billions of dollars when they shut down the parks, and, they still aren't, making positive revenue. So they're going to keep doing this money grab, but thank you all for sharing your opinions. Hopefully someone from Disney may see this and be like, know what, maybe we should reflect and see, have we lost the guest experience, or can we get back on track and, still charge the prices that we are to justify getting back on track.
Well, we weren't invited to experience the Galactic Starcruiser. Somehow I don't think they're watching, unfortunately. But maybe one day they'll pay attention to little old us and we will move the needle a little bit in the right direction for the Disney Parks fans.
We'll get there. We're not on the same level as MSNBC?
CNBC is not apparently the same level as us, which I always thought we were, unique competitors. I always thought we were peers, but apparently not.
Yeah, I guess not. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
One day.
We're dedicated.
We're on our way, that's for sure. All right. Well, Gared, before we head out of here, just a quick question for you. Anything Disney Parks related? Anything on your mind that you wanted to bring up, talk about, share?
I am excited for World of Color to come back because that is an amazing spectacular, and it's coming back to California Adventure, and it is going to be amazing. When it first came out, I was like, what is this? But after experiencing it, you are just drawn in so much, and I hope they add some new elements. But I'm pumped for what Disneyland's getting. It's ironic that Disney World's celebrating its 50th and Disneyland is getting more things than that. It, like, Design's getting a nighttime parade. Disney World just barely got Festival of Fantasy.
Right.
So right now Disneyland is winning the 50th anniversary, and it's not even having its 50th anniversary yet.
Kind of shocking, right?
Yeah.
That 50th anniversary. Oh gosh.
Disneyland was beautiful. It was the golden one, and even the 60th. The 60th blew me out of the water with its fireworks spectacular and Paint the Night. Disneyland it's the original. The original is always the best.
We know how to party out here on the West Coast. Yes, we do. And hey, before we get out of here, folks, a quick reminder to you. You can win yourself your very own Kingdom Report mug. All you got to do is leave the phrase that pays underneath this video. As soon as the live video is over, you will be able to leave comments underneath this video on our YouTube channel at the Kingdom Report. The phrase that pays this week, Disneyland Forever. Disneyland Forever is the comment you need to leave under this very video to win yourself your very own Kingdom Report mug. If you are the winner, we will reach out to you, let you know, and you can select your favorite color, and we'll get that mug shipped on out to you ASAP. You do have between now, the 26th, and Monday, the 28th at 8 a.m. Pacific time. So you have a couple of days here. If you're watching this after the fact on demand, which we know the majority of our audience does, you still have an opportunity to win because we're thinking about you too. You also matter so much. So just remember, throw that comment into our section. Disneyland Forever, the phrase that pays for your very own Kingdom Report mug. Well, Gared, so much happening at the Disney parks and a lot of entertainment coming back. Really can't wait to see things like the new finale float to the Electrical Parade, Encanto coming aboard. I mean, it's really... I'm excited because it's like, all right, the Electrical Parade isn't just coming back Electrical Parade of old. There's a lot of infusion of new things being pumped into this. That's very exciting. That's a nice thing to have.
I love that they have Merida and Hercules on there because Hercules is such an amazing movie. And then you've got movies of old, you got new ones. I love it all so much.
Aladdin and Frozen, and it looks like all kinds of great films being represented and new films being represented. So very much looking forward to all of what the electrical parade of modern day will be providing us here very shortly, and certainly also looking forward to Fantasmic's return come Memorial Day weekend and going into summer. It's going to be awesome, man. It's going to be a great summer. Things are finally getting back to normal coast to coast and around the world. Well, in most places around the world.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, our prayers are with everybody currently in harm's way as always, but we are looking forward very much to some normalcy in the Disney parks.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. I can't wait.
Gonna be the best, that's for sure. All right.
Yes,
hey, folks, if you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to us with that notification bell turned on so you never miss a dang thing. We have news updates coming at you all the time, and if you haven't hit that thumbs up button, boy, that means an awful lot too, so you should hit that. You should really hit that. It'll make Gared happy, which is his purpose in life.
It will make me very happy.
It'll make him very happy. So let's all smile together. I think that
Yay.
might be... Yeah, oh. Was that
Yay.
you smiling?
Yeah, that is me smiling. The raised voice. I'm smiling right now. It's been an awesome time.
Oh, yay. I like that too. Very nice. All right, my friends. Well, we will see you next time. And don't you worry, for those of you who are looking forward to Kingdom Report Live coming back, it is not gone away. It is not something that has completely deteriorated and we're not talking about it or something. It's just something that has been very difficult to do in recent months, mainly due to medical issues and health issues that have been plaguing certain members of the team. So we are looking forward to joining you once again in studio with our ugly mugs on camera once more at the Kingdom Report Live, which usually is in the Saturday at noon time slot. It will be returning this March, so hang in there. The show is coming back. Don't you worry. I miss it. You miss it. I think we all do. Everybody wants to be there. Everybody wants to be in studio together, and that will be coming in short form. So nothing to worry about on that. And Gared, do I have a yay from you on that?
Yay!
Oh, I do. That was great. Thank you.
I'm very, very happy. I love this channel. I love what we do, and I love connecting with all of you out there. I think getting to interact with the viewers and the fans definitely makes this job worthwhile and makes me want to do it more. And Rita, love you, girl. I give
Rita,
you a hug, but I can't do that to a computer.
Virtual hug to you, Rita. Thank you so much for the super chat. It means an awful lot. And you know what? For all of you being a part of this broadcast, whether you have contributed live or whether you are somebody who is watching after the fact, as I always like to say, you matter to this channel. You matter to the Disney Parks experience. And thank you for your contribution. Not just Rita, but all the folks that definitely decide to watch and consume our content. Tinker Show, you take care of yourself. It means an awful lot that you were here as well. And my friends, we will see you next time for another edition of Disney News Talk Live. Until then, just remember that when it comes to the legacy of Walt Disney, well, it lives on because of people like you and me. See you next time.